Hi there, and welcome to Bourbon Turntable. We are the show that blends the love of whiskey with the love of music. And tonight, I have with me, as always, Mr. Drew Crawley. How you doing,
Good
Drew?
evening. Doing well, sir. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well. You
Good.
you had a show this weekend, right?
Yep. Played a little bit of music. Went and saw some buddies play some music. And then we are in full blown packing mode for one of my other favorite summer activities besides recording this podcast is going to music festivals. So I'm in various stages of packing and unpacking and repacking the car. So it's great.
Yeah, and you're going to
Bonnaroo. So
Bonnaroo.
it's gonna be
And
4 or 5 days in Manchester, Tennessee. So
yes,
looking forward to that. Got some great acts this year, and it'll be my first time going to this one. So pretty
awesome.
entertaining.
Well, good. Have a good time and uh, stay safe and healthy, I guess.
Yes,
So, how about
yes.
that?
I told Cindy today I will be drinking lots and lots of water, and will not come back with any more of a criminal record.
Yeah, yeah, she was intrigued by that. Uh, hey, with us as a guest host again this week is Shannon Hood. Shannon, thanks for joining us.
Hey, hey, thanks for having me.
Always fun to have you around. We had you as an actual guest a few weeks ago, and you talked about your business, Poorly Educated. So remind everybody a little bit about that.
So, yeah, Poorly Educated is just curated flight tasting experiences, in home, online. A lot of times I will also offer just classes to the public, whiskey education.
Mhm.
So, yeah, travel and teach people about whiskey.
That's a pretty good deal. I like that. I like that. So we are also a part of the Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who have different shows that we think that you would enjoy. Distillers Talk is one such show. It's with Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. Those shows usually drop on Thursdays. My Whiskey Den with Patrick and Mike and our own Benjamin. Those shows are live every Monday night at 9 o'clock. And then our show, Bourbon Turntable. So tune in to these shows. You can also follow the Bar Cart Co-op on Facebook group, and you can subscribe to the Bar Cart Co-op YouTube page. So we've got some growing content on both of those platforms. So be sure to check all of that out. Speaking of checking things out, we need to share this with you as well.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell notification to find out when new episodes are coming out, which do come out every single Wednesday on all of the services: Spotify, Apple Music, Google, maybe Amazon, definitely YouTube. And always hit that like button, but hit it an odd number of times. So then that way it stays as a like.
All right. Hit it an odd number of times. Thank you very much, Mike. As always, we appreciate your talents. So, this week we're talking with you about summertime. It is the unofficial start of summer already because we're past Memorial Day, but the official start of summer is really the day that this show releases, I believe. So, we're right on top of it. We're keeping you up to date with music, with whiskey, and with your calendar. So you just got to love that. But we're going to be talking about summertime in terms of what we drink and how we drink it, and summertime in terms of music. What music puts you in the mood for summer? So first of all, I want to ask Shannon and Drew, how do you change anything up in your uh, spirits habits during the warm weather?
Hmm.
Drew, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I don't do a whole lot of changing. I'm still pretty much sticking to my whiskey. Neat. Might add a little bit more rocks tonight. I did one of my favorite things though, just my poolside cocktail. So a little sweet tea, a little lemonade, and a healthy dose of Old Forester 100 proof. So
Mhm.
always happy with a little alcoholic Arnold Palmer by the pool. But for the most part, I'm sticking to my guns. If I'm pacing myself like this next week for the music festival, do some light beer every now and again. Try to go one water to one alcoholic drink for those kind
Mhm.
of things. But yeah, not a lot of huge amount of shit for me.
Okay. Shannon, how about you?
I also tend to stick with bourbon. I generally, or whiskey in some fashion. Yesterday, I decided to start the slushy diet. So, um, yeah, we can put bourbon in all things slushy. That's what I'm drinking tonight. I actually have a flight of slushies. Um, I cheated and went the Sonic route, so I got the blue coconut, which I put. Actually, this is a rum experiment I did over
That's
quarantine.
cool.
All right.
That's in that one. The lemonade I put early times 100 proof,
Oh,
and
That's a
then
good one.
for the lime, I really don't have a lot of bottles here. I don't have a lot of good tequila, so I substituted the Totem from Real Spirits into the lime slushy. So,
All right.
yes,
all right.
slushy diet day 2 continues.
Okay. So the real question is, how do you rank them?
Um, well, the bourbon lemonade's really good. Uh, I really like the blue coconut with the rum. I would prefer it be not so blue. I've learned after a day in Cabo of drinking the drink of the day at the resort, which was blue, the next day things can be shockingly a different color. So yeah, it's not, but um, it tastes really good.
Um,
Outstanding.
that's good. That's really good. And I've actually, I don't, I had a bourbon slush batch that I'd made, and shockingly, it's all gone. But I'll post the recipe for that in the notes of the show, so you can be sure to see that. It's very simple, and everybody really seems to like it. It's a can of frozen lemonade, and then once you empty that can into the blender, you put in 3/4 of a can of orange juice, no pulp, just pulp-free orange juice, and then half a can of the whiskey of your choice,
Nice.
and put it all in the blender, ice it up, blend it for 2 minutes, and you're set to go. And everybody really seems to like it. Even people that aren't necessarily drinkers will, or bourbon fans, they'll enjoy it too. It's really good, very easy. You can have it done in 3 minutes and be serving your guests if you're having a party. But one other thing that I did is I created a little. You Sometimes cocktails can get really complicated,
Mm-hmm.
and my thing is to try to keep it as simple as possible. Because that's kind of how my mind works, and I don't necessarily want to invest the kind of time in it. But you can mix up some different flavors of some different things and come up with something that's pretty tasty. And Derby Day, I created something that I called Rich Strike, because Rich Strike won the Derby. And I just filled a glass with ice. I put our friend Adam Stump's Old Monroe Lemon Drop Whiskey, and then some Finger Lakes Raspberry Liqueur. Obviously you can substitute brands as you need to. And then basically you can top it with whatever. I have used Ale 8. I have used Sundrop. I have used Sprite. Tonight I used ginger beer, and so it's looks refreshing, doesn't it?
Excellent.
And
That's good.
ginger beer. I mean, I do like an Irish whiskey
Hmm.
with just ice and ginger beer and a little bit of lemon. That's
Yeah.
really outside.
Yeah, you can pull a whole lot of flavors in very simply with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, lemon or lime, or ginger ale, ginger beer. Uh, Even what I thought about doing and just forgot was to just put a little fresh basil in it too. I think that would be fun. So it's very easy to get a whole lot of flavors that work well together and aren't real heavy on you. Um, so again, heavy is going to depend on necessarily what kind of whiskey you use. Um, highballs. Anybody do highballs?
Yeah, I'll have them out. Most of the time, if I'm doing something like that, I'll gravitate more towards like an Aperol spritz,
Mhm.
something like that, than a highball necessarily, because it's usually early in the day.
Mhm.
But I like those for sure. There's a spot downtown, the Silver Dollar, that if y'all aren't from Louisville or if you happen to be passing through, make sure to
Mhm.
check that out. But they make a great highball cocktail. They got a couple of good
Mhm.
options over there.
Right. What do you think of the new pre-packaged, pre-canned highball
Yeah.
drinks?
I go back and forth kind of on them. Most of the time, they're a little bit light on the whiskey for what I like,
Mhm.
but I realize that ready to drinks probably aren't for people that are hobbyists or enthusiasts of bourbon most of the time. I don't
Right.
want to gatekeep our hobby because that's not what it's about, right?
Right.
Um, but if you're out on the lake or you got a long day, throw some of those in the cooler with you. Just make sure you have a bottle of something that maybe a little heavy hitter to get you through.
Mhm.
But yeah, they have their place. So do
Mhm.
White Claws. I don't know. I
Yeah.
might be alone on that on this show, but
I think you are. I think you are.
Yeah, you are, but that was going to be my next question. Is does anybody partake in the White Claw or Truly or whatever other brands may be out there?
yeah, I, I
No,
try
it
to be.
fill me up. I just tend to feel very full and bloated, and
Hmm.
Mhm.
I don't drink a lot of beer either for that reason. I mean, I can drink one or two, and then that's kind of
Right.
my limit
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I feel that. The only time I pull those out, I sound like I'm defending myself, but that's I'm here for a good time and a long time kind of nights. You
Sure.
got to pace yourself out through the day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. No, especially if you're at a place where there are uh, multiple bottles of very attractive whiskey. It gets very easy to try. Oh, I'll try a little bit of that and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Wait a minute, have I had that yet? I don't remember. And it, and it can get away. It can get away from you. But I've never been one to get into the hard seltzer drinks. Um, but I'll try not to make fun of people that do, because we want to be an inclusive show.
See, for now, out on the lake or floating the river, I'll make bourbon slushies, and I get off Amazon
Hmm.
like the envelopes that make it into like a adult Capri Sun
Yep.
package.
Hmm.
You pour them in there and keep them in the freezer. Even
That's a good
have
idea.
reusable like popsicle
Oh,
plastic ones as well.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Now, can you do like a bourbon popsicle? I don't know
Yeah,
that it would actually
you
freeze,
just
would it?
do it's just bourbon slushy, and you put it in the popsicle
Okay.
thing, freeze it a little more.
Freeze it a little more.
Mm.
Okay.
Sounds dangerously crushable right next to a pool.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that may be something we have to try later on. So next time you're in town, Shannon, we'll
I will pull out my packages and set them by the door so they're ready to go.
and we'll do a little summertime midday drinking of slushies and eating of whiskey popsicles.
Sounds perfect. I
That
will
sounds like
schedule my trip real soon. Like,
that sounds like a great day.
I think that needs to make it to our Bourbon Club Labor Day cookout. I think we need to have some of those there.
Yes, yes. Another thing I did last summer was um, Jello shots that were um, old-fashioned Jello shots,
ooh, that sounds
Ooh,
good.
okay.
and
Yeah.
they were. It was just something I was going to try. I had never tried that before. Just thought, well, I'll play around with this, see if they're any good, and they were surprisingly good. And you just have those little plastic cups
Yeah.
with the cap on it, and I'll find that recipe and I'll post it as well. But it was very easy. Again, if I'm doing it, it's going to be pretty easy. But it was very very good, very refreshing on a hot summer day. So another thing we can
Awesome.
try. So I think we've lost a day in the future somewhere. So now, if you are into cocktails, I want to refer you to our friend Adina Ewalds. Adina and her husband Dave were on the show for our Valentine's episode where they gave us some Valentine's Day cocktails. But Adina does some fantastic things with cocktails, and they're just gorgeous. So follow her on Instagram. It is simply Adina Ewalds. That is AdinaEwaldz. And I'll include her social media contact in the notes of the show. So follow her, and you'll get some really good expert cocktail kind of things. Nothing, chintzy like what I do. She's actually really good at it. But follow her. You can follow Dave too. His handles Full Bean Group. He keeps telling me that he'll explain that story to me sometime, but we've not had that happen yet. So next time we'll get him on the show again and we'll make him explain it. But if you want to follow people that are actually doing cocktails that are creative, but they're going to be people that are going to be approachable, and you can ask them questions and they'll respond. The Ewalls are perfect candidates for that, so be sure to check them out. All right. Anything else on the way we drink in the summer?
Well, apparently Winston has something to say.
Well, Winston. but okay, Drew made a good point
Like
earlier.
Scotch.
Yes. Drew made a good point earlier, though, and that was water.
Yes.
Keep hydrated, whether you're drinking alcohol or not. You keep hydrated in the summer, and if you're drinking alcohol, especially so, because again, it can get away from you pretty quickly, and it can snowball on you. Not really snowball in the summer, but you know what I mean. So
Absolutely.
drink plenty of water as well. So don't be that guy or girl. So. All right. So we are getting ready we'll wrap up side A of the show. If anybody has any comments on what you drink in the summer or cocktails that you like or anything that you would like to suggest, leave us a comment. We'll be sure to respond to that. But before we get into side B and start talking about the songs of summer, I want to tell you a little bit about our friends at Stumpy Spirits. We talked about them just a second ago with an ingredient that was in my cocktail, and mentioned that Adam's going to be on the show next month. Stumpy Spirits is now available online, so hop on stumpyspirits.com and check that out. You can have all their great products shipped to your door. They have some very creative things that they're doing in whiskey, but also in other spirits, like this lemon drop flavored spirit that I've got here. They have several different kinds of vodka that are available. So be sure to check them out. Their gin is an award-winning product as well. So lots of great stuff from Adam and his group. And now you can order it online. So congratulations to all of us. All right. So let's talk about music. And when we're talking about songs of summer, I don't think we're being as restrictive as saying that the song has to be about summer or have the word summer or summertime in the title or even in the lyrics. But it needs to be a song that reminds us of summer, that puts us in the mood for summer. So, Shannon, do you have one that you'd like to kick off for us?
Well, so I went through and made what I called Summertime Soulshine playlist.
All
And
right.
so these are all kinds of songs that during the summer I grew up. We always had a lake house. We were always around water. So summertime to me is, just kind of easy listening songs when you're floating on the boat in the lake, or just hanging around the boat dock with family. But some of those songs that remind me of are like the Eagles or Steve Miller Band's Allman Brothers.
Hmm.
These might have all been things my parents were listening to as I was growing up when we were at the lake.
Right.
Of course, I would throw in some Bob Marley songs. That always reminds me of summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Any Eagles songs in particular? Because I think that a lot of their stuff can kind of go either way. Some of their stuff can be kind of heavy, and some of their stuff is
It's one
more.
I put "Take It Easy" on the playlist.
Yeah.
Um, that would be the one that would most come to mind for me to be just an easy listening, kind of hanging out song.
It's a great tune.
Yep. Drew, do you have one?
Yeah, so I may have misunderstood the assignment just a little bit because I did albums. I didn't pick individual songs.
It's all right.
So
That works.
I kind of categorize mine as good time, bad time, and recommendation, or just having a good time. But my first record that reminds me of summer was from 1963, the Beach Boys, "Surfing USA." So I love being on the lake. Put me on a jet ski or on a pontoon boat. I'm pretty happy either way. But I want some kind of music, some kind of soundtrack to that day. And growing up, it was always some Beach Boys kind of on the boat, with friends. And so I like to throw that one on, especially the first day we hit the water for real in the summer. Yeah.
Okay. So the important follow-up question is this: can you surf?
I absolutely cannot.
Cannot.
I have had a couple of different hospital stays as a result of wakeboarding, so I'm not even going to try the surfing thing. I think I'm good. I'm pretty good for sitting in the boat drinking beer. Honestly, that's kind of become my role.
Was alcohol involved in the wakeboarding incident?
No, I was young. I was below the legal drinking age, but yeah, it cost me half my summer and a starting spot my senior year because of some wakeboarding shenanigans. So, but hey, the soundtrack was just epic, so I was still all right.
Writhing in pain, listening to the Beach Boys. That's a great way to go through life.
All right. It's going to be a title of a memoir or something.
First one I'll mention is a song by Huey Lewis and the News called "The Power of Love."
Mm-hmm.
And the song is not about summer, but it captured the summer of 1985 when the movie Back to the Future came out.
Yes.
And that movie was the blockbuster hit of the summer. The song, "The Power of Love," was everywhere. And this was back in the day where if you didn't have your cassette tape in your car, you were listening to a radio station. You weren't streaming anything. Streaming, that meant maybe you're floating down a river somewhere. I don't know. But there was no streaming services at that point. It was you're finding a radio station and listening to whatever they played. And in the summer of 1985, they all played a whole lot of "The Power of Love." So that song always reminds me of summer.
Awesome.
So that's the first one. Shannon, what else do you have?
What else I have? Tom Petty, "Free Falling."
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of summer.
Why does that remind you of summer?
I think it just reminds me of a particular summer.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to remember that song, and I want to say like B-52's "Love Shack." I mean, for some reason, those were on just a repeat for that particular summer.
Yes.
Love that.
I was actually listening to "Love Shack" yesterday. So, and you're exactly right. That song feels like something. It's like we're going to someplace. We're going to have a party, and that's what.
Or it's a great car ride song on the way to this, summer event.
Because I've got me a car and it's as big as a whale, and it's about to set sail. So, But no, that song. I've been to many summertime weddings, and it's 50-50 whether the first song that the DJ plays at that wedding is Love Shack or not.
Hmm.
So maybe I just need to go to a better class of wedding. I don't know, but I hear that a lot at weddings in the summer. So, Drew, what else do you have?
Absolutely. Yeah, so this is my sad memory from summer, but it's 1991, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Hmm.
I actually have grown quite a fondness for this record later on in life, but when I was in high school, we had a very sadistic summer league coach for basketball, and his love in life, and I think I've probably mentioned this on the show before, but he would put on these records that had no bearing on whatever exercise it was that we were doing. So we would run sprints to this album in the summer, Oklahoma, Shannon, you know how it gets down there, between 98 and 105 on any given day, just be sweating it out in this gym. But he would put on this record to torture us because none of the BPMs or time signatures are at all conducive to running. So I hated this album most of my time through high school, and actually since kind of enjoy it. But yeah, that's album always reminds me of summer for a very specific reason.
Yeah, I can't imagine running wind sprints to, I don't know, under the bridge.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that
No.
doesn't fit.
It was to make us mentally tough.
Did it work?
Not particularly well for me.
Oh, now I've got one that it is about summer. It's Hot Fun in the Summertime by Sly and the Family Stone.
All
And
right.
that song is, I listened to that this morning, and it is very much a summertime feel to it, and that's the piano at the beginning, and it just kind of kicks right into something that's, again, I'm thinking we're sitting by a pool, we're feeling a breeze, and just having a relaxing time, and it's a wonderful song. Shannon, do you have anything else?
Well, I put this one on my playlist because
Mhm.
the other day I shared that article with y'all. The song "Summer Breeze" by Seals and Croft.
Mhm.
It was just a really weird circumstances of coincidences that the day I wrapped up the oil and gas project I was working on in Rankin, Texas, a very small West Texas town, um, Jim Seals died that day. He was from that very small Texas town of Rankin, Texas.
Wow.
Both him and his brother kind of grew up to become both very well-known songwriters. And I have worked in that town on and off throughout the years, and I never knew there was that connection. But I thought, what a kind of a great coincidence to bring that up since it's about music. We were looking for summer songs, and that song "Summer Breeze" he actually wrote about some memories of the old house on an old oil ranch that he grew up on. That town is very small and very poor, and yeah, there's nothing there.
Wow. But that's a very interesting relation that you have to that song now, just because of that
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just because I didn't even know why the article that I shared was actually not a new article. Had actually been written a couple of years prior, but somebody from Texas Monthly had shared that article that day.
Mhm.
I didn't know why, but I later found out it was because he died that day.
Mhm. Wow.
But yeah, so.
Wow.
So I put that song. I actually put two versions of that song on my playlist. The other version was a cover by Typo Negative. It's also
Yes.
on my playlist.
Yes.
Okay, I think I've heard that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
Drew, you have another one?
Yeah. So my third record is 2013 Jason Isbell Southeastern. Um, I found that record a couple years after it was released in a pretty rough time in my life. I was on the road a lot for work, going through a lot personally, and just kind of in the middle of kind of the peak of my addiction stuff. And Jason Isbell's music was a huge component of kind of trying to go and get some help with that. Kind of seeing the hope that he was putting out in front of me. It was almost like a target to catch. So I would get up in the morning before work and just run and run and run and run to that record. Songs like Super 8 and Cover Me Up and all that kind of stuff have a very specific memory for me. It's also got a lot of great fun songs on it too, but it was a turning point for me. Is kind of always marked by my relationship to that record. So that one I'll always throw on in the summer, just kind of as a reminder to keep going. And I'm a huge Jason Isbell fan. Hopefully, we'll get to see him together when he's here in September. But yeah, it's gonna be that. That's definitely number 3 for me.
Wow. Okay, so that's an interesting one because I would not normally associate Jason Isbell and his music with summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk just a little bit about what makes for a good summertime song. And I'm not saying that isn't, because
Yeah.
it is, and I'll circle back to that in a second. But when we're thinking of a summertime song, what do we typically think of? What are the elements of the song that are there, or
Right.
elements that aren't there in a
Yeah.
summertime song?
For sure. It's, beboppy, bubblegum pop. You think
Mhm.
like Party in the USA, Miley Cyrus, like funny, goofy,
Right.
thoughtless. Not thoughtless in that there's just not a whole lot going on underneath the surface
Right.
kind of a way.
Right. You're not trying to dissect the lyrics and figure out what they mean.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I guess that's the thought. If you're thinking of summer in terms of like you were in a kid, that was your only time off. You were out of school. It needed to be all about fun. But like with Drew, I guess if you're thinking of, what if you have a bad memory associated with
Mhm.
summer in general? Then you might not necessarily have a beboppy poppy tune come to mind.
Right. It can go both ways, absolutely. But typically, you're dealing with songs about falling in love and not breaking up. You
Mhm.
typically, a good summer song is not typically a breakup song.
true.
It's like Summer Nights from Greece
yeah.
with
Mhm.
John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Once you get past the some of the like date rape references, it it's a summer romance kind of song, and but are there breakup songs that are summertime songs that we would normally think of as summertime song? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I might be weird on that one. Could just
From
be
my
me.
No, not at
Summer, I
all.
went through a breakup. I could look at my playlist from last summer and tell you what I had on there.
Yeah. Depends on what kind of summer you're having, I suppose.
Right. But yeah, no, I'm sure, because it's what reminds you of summer in general. And I think that we can all kind of come up with a playlist of songs that, okay, the general public are going to say, okay, yeah, I can listen to that, sitting around the pool or under the umbrella at the beach, or whatever the case may be. But part of music is that association, and that association with an experience, or that association with a time. And that's where that Jason Isbell album for you, Drew,
Mm-hmm.
it may be coincidental that it was the summer, but it's still the summer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and while that might not fit on most people's summertime song playlist, it fits for you. And I think that's part of what's important with it. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about, drink your whiskey the way you like to drink your whiskey. And we've talked about different ways to drink it in the summer. Same thing with music. Whatever whatever fits for you in the moment that you're at, go for it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, one that I go back to, and this is a long time ago. Um, when I was a little kid, our family went on our first ever beach vacation, and we were at Myrtle Beach, and this was, if you could imagine Myrtle Beach being not all that commercial, that's the way it was, way back when. But the song that was in 1975, 1976, I don't remember which it was. The song that was the on every radio station every hour was "Love Will Keep Us Together" by Captain and Tennille.
Yes.
And my mom, literally one of the last conversations we had before she passed last year, she mentioned that memory. So that's something as corny and as hokey as Captain and Tennille are, that's my summer song.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love that.
So
well, you'll have to add the song Myrtle Beach to your playlist.
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle by Sonny Ledford.
Yeah, I don't know that one, so that'll be fun to check out and track down. Yeah. Drew, what else do you have, sir?
I don't have necessarily a whole lot more in terms of recommendations. I try to pick an album at the beginning of the summer that I'm kind of looking forward to, and try to kind of track one artist or so every summer. So this summer, I've talked about him a little bit before, but Zach Bryan just put out a new record called American Heartbreak. It's 34 songs, so it's a lot of music. There's got to be a couple of them on there that are worth your time. But I've really been tearing that one up and really recommend it. The only other thing I'll say, and I'll shut up for a little bit, but I recommend in the summer, listen widely. Most places have summer music festivals. They oftentimes are corresponding with, craft beer festivals or bourbon things or barbecue or all kinds of stuff. Listen locally and, listen broadly. If you can get to a big time festival, absolutely do it. But check out as much as you possibly can, because a lot of times you'll be surprised by what's kind of hiding in your backyard.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree with that 100%. Shannon, is there anything that you're kind of tracking this summer in terms of a band or an album?
Well, gentleman from Austin I just saw last night in Denton. I've also seen him previously in Dallas. His band, he is Black Joe Lewis. Phenomenal guitar player out of Austin. I would describe him. Influences are James Brown, Howlin' Wolf. So just some great guitar playing, rock, funk, soul. It is a great live show if you just want to go and dance and have a great time. Look for him. I know he is on a little bit of a tour right now. I don't think it's just in Texas, but he's in Texas right now. Yeah, Black Joe Lewis and the Honey Bears.
Black Joe Lewis and the Honey Bears. All right, so give me just a second. I'm looking this up. Let's see. Yeah, he's in New York. He's in New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas City, Fayetteville. Franklin, Tennessee is the closest it looks like he's going to be to us for a festival.
What's the dates on that?
September 24th.
I think that corresponds with Bourbon and Beyond.
Bourbon and Beyond is the weekend before.
Yeah.
Okay.
18th and 19th, as I have tickets to that.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'll check this guy out and keep tracking him for live performances. But one that I'm tracking very closely this summer, and we will do a show on this at some point this summer, and that is the Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Yeah.
They have
Love them.
released the first of 4 albums that will come out over the course of the summer. And they have a video uh, of the album, and then that they release on YouTube. And then, like 3 days later, they release the album on streaming services and on CD. Then 2 or 3 weeks later, they do the same thing. They have a second album, a video, and then a few days later, they release it on streaming. And so this is going to go on 4 different times during the course of the summer. I think the last one comes out in mid to late August. And then they'll release the whole thing on vinyl. And the project is called I Am the Moon. I Am the Moon. So check that out. The first set of songs, the first album that's been released on it, it's just amazing.
Dude, it's stupid. It's stupid. Oh, the playing on that's so good.
Yeah, it gets you. It does get you. So I'm looking forward to listening to the remaining releases on that, and then at some point seeing them live. I would imagine that they'll do something where they play the entire 4 album, 2 hours worth of music live. So
One of
that'll
my
be.
top all-time favorite shows was seeing them at Red Rocks.
Oh yeah,
Fabulous.
yeah, that would be awesome. I've seen them a handful of different places,
Yeah, I
including
have
the
as well.
Ryman.
Red Rocks was the pinnacle of shows.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We keep coming back to that. Yeah. Ryman and the Red Rocks are kind of the 2 places you got to go see anybody you really love.
Yeah. So I'm going to start tagging Derek and Susan in social media and just keep badgering them to see if we can get them on the show. Just kind of like I did with Jack White. That didn't really work out that well, but it didn't work out at all. But it was fun. So we'll try to get them on, in most likely in vain, but we'll try nonetheless. Now, I do want to mention one more song that is a summertime song in terms of the way it feels. And that is the song Dancing in the Streets.
Mm.
And we have 2 versions of this song that I would heartily endorse. One is Martha and the Vandellas version. It's outstanding. It's classic. The other is Van Halen's version, which is surprisingly fantastic. The last is David Bowie and Mick Jagger. Now, as much as I love David Bowie and as much as I love the Rolling Stones, you just got to say no to this Bowie Jagger Dancing in the Street. It is just, it is horrifically bad. And I remember this came out in, I think it was 84, 85, whenever they did Live Aid. And they released a video of Bowie and Jagger doing this song. And everybody's just kind of looking at each other going, what did we just see? That was not good. And then they tried to recover from it. This was back when MTV actually showed music
videos.
Yeah. And so, all the news on MTV, the following week was, oh, they rushed, they threw this together quickly, so they've still got production work to do in the studio and blah, blah, blah. And so, they then promised to release the single, like 3 weeks later. And it was none the better. So Dancing in the Streets is a fantastic summertime feel song, but just say no to that version. If you haven't heard it, maybe you go and you listen to it once, but be warned, it's just absolutely, as Drew said, a complete swing and miss. And don't let it dissuade you from listening to more Bowie or more Rolling Stones. But don't put that on your summertime playlist. Everybody will leave your party. So.
I would like to add a song
Yeah.
Seeing something in the background over your head.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sean Cassidy, we could add to Do Run Run. That's about summer love.
Yes. What
Good
was it?
one.
Met her in a party and her name was Jill. To
Jill,
do
yeah.
run, run,
Make sure
run,
that
to do
was
run,
Jill.
run. Yeah.
You
All
met
right.
her and
So
her heart stood still.
yeah, I found that at a used record store for $1. So next time you're in town, Shannon, it's yours.
Take it home with me.
Don't think don't say I never gave you anything.
If I drive, I'll seatbelt him in the car on the way home.
And then on this side is a Beach Boys album. That
Yes.
is Surfer Girl, not Surfing USA.
It's a good one.
And then just below Sean Cassidy is Herb Albert. That is called Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass, Whipped Cream and Other Songs. So if you've
I
not,
thought it was somebody's bridal portrait.
nope, it is a young lady covered in whipped cream. So,
Wow.
So for
That would
the
be for an exciting bridal portrait, though.
yes, well, I guess it could work for that. You're wearing white either way, but if you're wearing whipped cream to your wedding, I don't know that you deserve to wear white.
Don't need a wedding.
Okay, this show got off the rails pretty quick. All right.
White, sorry.
All right. So we will have, I've got a summertime playlist that's probably 7 hours long, and I'm going to add in some of the stuff that Drew and Shannon talked about as well. So maybe it'll get to 7.5 or 8. But this is the kind of thing you just put it on, hit shuffle, and you don't have to worry about it the rest of your party or your cookout or whatever. So, or your long drive to the beach, maybe. I don't know. At any rate, let's talk about where folks can find you guys on social media. Shannon, let's start with you, please.
Instagram is best. WTF Whiskey Travel Food or Poorly Educated POURLY.
Yeah, great. And Drew.
Awesome. Yeah, you can find me at DrewCrawley63 on Twitter or Drew.Crawley63 on Instagram. It's going to be primarily music focused on the Instagram side.
Mhm.
And then, follow me this week. You'll document all my music festival hijinks, of which I'm sure there will be many.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
And these don't necessarily fit as summertime songs, but
Nope.
stream tower songs anyway, because the follow-up album is forthcoming, and I believe there's some music coming out even
Yep.
before that. But don't sleep on tower songs. It's an outstanding collection of songs, and Drew did a great job. I'm really proud of him for what he's done there, and can't wait to hear more that he's got in store for us.
Yep.
So check that
Can I
out.
do a little teaser for that?
Absolutely.
Not to pile on, but July 8th, if you want to do the pre-save and all that kind of stuff, we'll have links for pre-save up later this week, but I just approved the final mixes for the first single from record number 2. It'll be out July 8th.
Can you tease the name of this song?
Yep. The song's called Stuck. There will be a studio version and an acoustic version released on the same day. One will be on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere else. The other will be on YouTube.
Awesome.
So you see all that coming out.
Awesome. Can we surf to it?
Probably not, unless you're going to cry as long with you surf. But
If anybody saw me try to surf, they'd probably laugh to the point of tears. So, hey, Bourbon Turntable, we're everywhere, man. We are everywhere. You can see us on YouTube. You can watch this show, and you can see Shannon share with you the various colors of slushy that she had, and enjoy that, and the beautiful cocktail that I made for you in about 45 seconds. And you can also listen to the show on podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Google. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We're even a little bit on Twitter. Not as much as we should be, but we're not all that snarky. Yeah, we are. Okay. Hey, Drew, tell everybody what we got coming up next.
Yeah, so next week will be a friend of ours, a friend to the cocktail, the coffee, and the cigar scene,
Yeah.
and the whiskey scene as well here in Louisville. Mr. Stephen Fonte will be joining us. I'm sure we'll cover a broad range of topics, but we'll talk about his work out at Limestone Branch, as well as probably get into some of his work here in Louisville as well. So that'll be a fantastic show. He's always a great time.
Ultimately entertaining. And I'm looking forward to that. It's a lot of fun to ask a question of and then listen to him answer the question, because he is gifted in the way he speaks and the information that he shares. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun. So, all right.
Absolutely.
So we're ready for summer now, and use sunscreen, okay? Drew, use sunscreen next week
Yes, sir.
at Bonnaroo. So
Yes, sir.
don't come back with a sunburn. But all right. Hey, until next time, cheers, love, and free bird. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you joining us. Good night.
Good night.
Winston says goodbye.